I built a PayPal payment page using real money. Just enter an amount and click the PayPal button and hey presto, you've earned money. Or you can enter your real credit card or debit card details if you don't have a PayPal account. Built using Laravel and the PayPal API, all in 5 minutes. Let's go. Open your terminal and run this command to install our Laravel project. I'll call it PayPal Laravel. Let it whiz through, and once it's done, we're going to navigate inside our directory. Run PHP Artisan to create a new controller, PayPal Controller. Once that's done, we'll open up our code in our editor and get coding. In our project, head over to the app directory, HTTP, controllers, and the PayPal controller we just created. We're going to have 3 public methods: index, create with an amount defaulting to 10, and complete. The 4th method will be a private method for getting the access token. In index, return a view called checkout. Then up top, add in a use statement for HTTP and session. In our access token, create a headers array with content type to the application form URL encoded. Authorization as a basic, don't forget the space, then all of this needs to be base64 encoded. Our PayPal client ID with a colon and our PayPal client secret. After your headers, create a HTTP request. Pass in your headers with a body, grant type equals client credentials. Add post to the PayPal base URL /v1 OAuth token. This will generate your OAuth token, which we'll get from the response. JSON decode it and just return the access token, which is a string. In create, we need a universally unique ID. Then add some headers with content type application JSON, authorization as bearer with a space, with the access token we just created, and PayPal request ID as the ID. In body, add intent, capture, which can be authorized if you wish, purchase units into another array, reference ID, the amount as another array, add currency code, and the value you actually want to charge the customer. I'm going to number format this to ensure 2 decimal places, so 10 is actually 10.00. Create the request with headers, JSON encode the body, then post it to the base URL v2 checkout orders. Put the request ID into the session along with the order ID you get from the response. We'll need this later. Then return as JSON the request ID, as we'll need it on the UI. Incomplete, create a URL variable from the base URL v2 checkout orders, the order ID /capture. Headers is content type application JSON, authorization to the bearer access token. Add HTTP request with headers and post it off to the URL. Add a null here to make sure the body is empty, then return the JSON decoded response. Next, head over to config and create a new PayPal config file. Return an array, add base URL, then we're going to have a ternary statement. Add the environment variable PayPal mode equal to live. If mode is live, then return the live PayPal URL, else the sandbox URL. Then we just want to get the rest of the variables: mode, client ID, client secret, and the currency. Now we just need to grab our API keys to populate our config. Head over to the PayPal website, and if you haven't already created, you'll need a business account. Click on developers, API credentials, create an app if you haven't already, and choose between either sandbox or live credentials. I'm going to use the live credentials, so I'll be using real money. Click on the live app name and copy the client ID and secret. And then head over to your code and open up your .environment file in your code. At the bottom, add 3 new variables: PayPal mode as live, and paste in your client ID and secret. Next, head to root web PHP and delete everything that's in there and create 3 roots. Add 2 get roots, index and create, and include the amount on the create root and then the post root to the complete method. Now we can finally start building our UI to tie this all together and make it work. In resources, go to views and create checkout blade. Add some basic HTML, and inside of your head, I'm going to include Bootstrap 5.3, just so we got some styling. Then we're going to add in the PayPal JavaScript SDK with a few variables: the client ID, which we'll get from our config in PHP, add the currency as GBP, then the intent as capture. In the body, we're going to have a few divs, a div container centered with a row, an alert, which we can display when the PayPal transaction is complete, by default is going to be hidden, another div with an input group, a span with a £, and then an input field with a default value of 10, another span with a 00 afterwards, so the end user knows we're working in pounds, not pence. Then the single most important div on the page, which is where we're going to render our PayPal button. So we need to include this very important ID, PayPal_options. Finally, we need some JavaScript. Add PayPal buttons with a JSON object inside, which will render our PayPal button on our page load. Inside the JSON object, we need a few functions. Create order, which returns an API call to the create method we created in our PayPal controller, with the amount from our input field. The response will be the order ID, so just return it. The onApprove function is when PayPal has approved our payment on their end, just return an API call to the complete URL. This will be a post method, so we'll need the cross-site request forgery token in the header for security reasons. Then the response as JSON, as this will include all of the order details. At this point, you know it's a successful payment because your complete method has returned successfully, so you can display your PayPal success alert. Else, there's been an error, so we can dump the error to the console. PayPal also has an on-cancel and on-error function. I'll dump those to the console as well because it's a tutorial. But just a warning, don't dump errors to the console in a live environment if you enjoy security. And you're done with the coding. Upload the code to a web server that has HTTPS. Click on the PayPal button, log into your account, and click on your preferred payment method and complete the purchase. You should be redirected back to your page with the success alert. To verify this has worked, just log into your account and you can see the transaction. And there we have it, a fully working PayPal payment page built in 5 minutes using Laravel. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave a comment about what kind of videos you want me to make in the future. Until next time, Ross.